Just like that. So we are back with a brand new episode of Walkin and Talkin with Tim. And my guest today is Joanne Connor. And Joanne is the, oh my God, I don't even know if I don't even know if I can do it. Wait. Senior Associate Dean for External Affairs.
You got it.
Right. I just got that like 20 seconds ago.
There you go.
I knew what she did, I just couldn't pronounce the whole thing at once. So anyway, that quiz is over. So, Joanne, World Joanne, please tell everyone exactly what it is you do at Rowan.
So I am the Senior Associate Dean for External Affairs in the College of Education at Rowan. And that means anything that's external. So a little bit of government relations, alumni affairs, alumni relations rather, reaching out to businesses, corporations, connecting us to the local community. I'm working with some public schools as well. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
So that's what you're doing. And Rowan is growing like no other school.
Correct.
I mean, it's crazy, right?
Number 3 in the country. Fastest
Really?
growing.
Wow. Any other good stats?
No. That's all I got.
That was a good one, huh? I like that. Number 3. All right, so let's get into you then.
Okay.
So, listen, I mean, you told me at one time you were a teacher.
Correct.
You were a principal.
Correct.
You were a lot of things, actually.
Yeah.
You had a lot of different jobs.
I have.
So let's start with college.
Okay.
What was your college experience like? And what'd you go for?
I was a Spanish major at St. Joe's in Philly and studied in Mexico City for a year.
Did you really?
I did.
Didn't get that yet.
Yeah, very cool. So grew up in Haddonfield and then went right over to St. Joe's and stayed there on campus. And it was a great experience. It was a great education. It was really small. And so looking back, I don't know, maybe I would have gone somewhere bigger.
It was a pretty good school, though.
It was a great school, and I'm very happy with the education that I got.
I mean, the building itself.
Yeah. The 3 philosophies and the 3 theologies that they make you take in order to graduate, everybody has to take that. It really gives you, the ability to analyze things quickly, which is very helpful later in life.
So what took you from there to your next click? Like, obviously Spanish was not the thing, right?
No. I mean, it was Spanish literature, so it was like writing 20-page papers in Spanish. And so, yeah, I didn't do anything with that. But what I did do was realize I needed to go back to graduate school to get a job. And so I originally thought about law school.
Okay.
And I was accepted to a school in Texas called St. Mary's in San Antonio. And I packed up everything and I drove down there and I moved into the graduate dorm. And I was reading for my first class the next day, which was procedure. And I thought, what on earth is the procedure going to be when I can't pay back $300,000 in loans?
Oh,
so
Lord.
I packed everything back up and I drove home and I applied to Rutgers Camden and I got in. In the meantime, I had been working at a school for students with special needs in Cherry Hill called Yale School. And I realized that I wanted to work with that population.
You said that was tough, though.
It was tough. It was a very tough population. They had
a lot of perspective.
Some difficult backgrounds.
Yep.
And but I loved it, and the fulfillment that you get in helping those students and their families is incomparable to anything I had done before. So I stayed there for 13 years.
Wow.
Until I had my twins. So I had a 2.5-year-old and then my twins. And then we decided that, it wasn't enough money to be able to, like at the end after daycare, we would just be breaking even. So I stayed home for 3 years with the kids. Yep. And then came the divorce. So I started the doctoral program at Rowan while I was still working as a principal.
Right. And
I stayed in while I was a stay-at-home mom. And then right about the time that I was defending my dissertation, I was also getting divorced, and I needed to get a job. And so that's how I landed at Rowan. I had 2 job opportunities.
You were busy.
Yeah, it was a lot at once. So I only had 2 job opportunities because I defended my dissertation in October, and it was a month before the gubernatorial election, and Christie was running and threatening to consolidate school districts.
Right.
So it's a bad time for hiring in K-12 anyway, but on top of that, there was threat of consolidation, so nobody was moving. They wanted to see what happened with the election. So I had 2 job opportunities. One was at Rowan. Somebody who worked there, who was in the doc program a year behind me, called me and said, hey, we just created this brand new 3/4 time temporary coordinator of the doctoral program position. You should apply.
Right.
Because it was the only doc program we had back then. Now we have like 13. But anyway, I said, I don't know anything about higher ed. But he said, you know the program, the dean wants to make some changes. Who better to help than someone who just went through it? So I applied. The only other job offer I had was from my friend, my dear friend, Tommy Kehoe. Do you know Tommy?
No,
Okay.
I know the name though.
So Tommy grew up next door to me, and he is the owner of Yards Brewery
Okay.
over in Philly.
That's how I know the name.
Yep. So Tommy called me and said, hey, I heard about the divorce. I'm sorry. I need somebody who can sell beer for me. And I thought, well,
Oh my goodness.
I do like beer a lot. That's not a terrible thing. But, so those were the 2 opportunities. In the end, I thought I just, paid all this money for this degree, and I should probably try the thing in education first. So that's what I did. So when I have a bad day, I think to myself, I could be selling beer for a living.
It's my understanding that, actually, side note, is that he did very well on merchandise.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Almost as well on merchandise as on the beer.
Yeah, I'll bet.
We'll have to have him check in. Tommy, check in.
You should do a walk and talk with Tommy.
Exactly. We'll
That
have
would
to
be
do
fun.
that. So listen, so
So that's how I landed at Rowan.
that's how you landed at Rowan
And in higher ed.
and in higher ed. And then while you're at Rowan, while you're in higher ed, you get talked into, during this whole process, you told me you got talked into going to an event by Jack Tarditi and your buddy Jack, and you didn't want to go.
I did not want to go.
Did not want to go,
Nope.
but you went anyway.
I went
You said there was probably 1,000 people there. You get there, your name's not on the list, you're angry,
Yep.
you're annoyed, all this good stuff. And who do you meet?
My husband, Glenn Davila.
And you didn't want to go. She wasn't going to go.
Nope.
How about that? Isn't that the way it always works, right?
Yeah,
You just never know how it's going to turn out.
that's true.
So you met your husband. You guys get married, she said, about a year ago.
Yeah, a little over a year ago in August.
So you're a newlywed.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Glenn. Good for you. And so so here's a good question. Where'd you guys go when you got married?
Oh, so we got married at Tavistock, and then for our honeymoon we went to St. Thomas.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Very nice. So you and Glenn now have this really cool blended family, right? Because Glenn has kids as well.
2 daughters.
So
Yep.
Glenn has 2 daughters, and you've got the twins and your son.
Correct.
So you guys are busy.
Yeah.
You said, and so one of the things you're worried about, I know this, and we're going to talk about it real quick. You have Cup coming. Your son is now in the service.
Yes.
Just happened, right?
Correct.
So that's that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
It's proud and scary at the same time, right?
Exactly.
So you're like, rah rah go, but at
Yeah.
the same time, God, hope he's okay.
Right. That's right.
I can't imagine.
I'm glad there's people like that want to be on the front lines.
So
but
am I.
It's hard to have it be your job.
And what is his name?
Connor.
Connor. That's right. I keep
Connor
forgetting.
Kennedy.
Connor Kennedy, not Connor Connor.
Not Connor Connor.
Connor, shout out to you, my friend. Good for you.
Thank you.
And look, so you said you're twins, boy and a girl. What are their names?
Sammy and Stevie Kennedy.
Are looking at colleges.
Correct.
So you're about to be, well, not an empty nester necessarily, because I don't know how old Glenn's kids are too.
They're older. 25 and 20.
Oh, so you're going to be an empty nester.
Yes.
So you're going to get to that point where you've got, and I've done this, where the last kid goes to college, and you see that empty room.
I know. It's going to be terrible. I'm sad just thinking about it.
You're going to have 2 empty rooms, right?
Yeah.
And so
2 at
that
once.
feeling is going to be like overwhelming. I mean, listen, it passes.
Yeah.
It gets quiet, and you'll get used to that quiet.
I hope so.
I think. For a minute there, I thought we were being followed. But
I know that's someone else.
so we talked about so many things. You've done so many things.
So my husband, Glenn, owns a marketing firm called Performance Marketing. And so during the pandemic, he got this software and realized that they could all work from home.
That was a shameless plug, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
It wasn't intentional, but it's a good example. It truly is. So anyway, they're all hybrid now. So everybody's in the office on certain days, and then they do some remote work. But that allowed him to be able to downgrade his office space. He didn't need premium office space anymore.
Right.
And by the way, a lot of people don't want to come in for an in-person meeting because you can get 3 meetings in when you're traveling in between, but you can get 6 when you're in one spot all day. So I do think that there's a place for it, but I think that each company needs to evaluate what works best for them, and it comes down to the position itself. Not every position within an organization has the ability to be even partially remote. It's true.
It is true.
Yeah, but I think that it's worth looking at because it's a good way to attract and retain talent, because the younger generation, they're looking for this. Work-life balance is a big thing for them, and I think we need to be realistic. I don't think it's either or. I think it's somewhere in the middle, and I think it's completely dependent upon the organization.
Most entrepreneurs would tell you that it doesn't exist.
What?
Almost every entrepreneur would tell you that the work-life balance really doesn't exist, but you can make it happen if you work hard and you get a quality company going. Then you can balance it out with, oh, I get to go do this, I get to go do that. But and I tell people all the time, I call it road warrior. When we were younger and we had jobs that were like, whether they were sales or whatever, when you were at yards, you were probably all over the place, right?
Right.
You were a road warrior.
Yeah.
It wasn't work from home. I think the wording needs to change.
Yeah.
The idea of being a road warrior, or maybe having a little office where you work from somewhere, where there's a place to go and other people are there, even if they don't work with you.
Right.
Just work near you and you're around other people, because I think it's unhealthy to sit in your house by yourself and not be around other people. Look, we have to show people this. Come on, ready?
I know.
This is why I come here. Do you see that?
So gorgeous.
Is that amazing? So this is every day. Redback Battlefield. You should drop in and see it. It is actually a shameless plug, right?
Yes.
This is National Park's hidden secret. This is a gem. You should stop by here and check it out.
But even if you think about going into a Starbucks any day at 3 p.m. as soon as school ends for K-12, people, the up-and-coming generations don't learn the same way that we do. They learn collectively. They sit together, even if they have their AirPods in and they're not talking.
Isn't that wild?
It is wild.
They say nothing. I've seen it. I go to coffee shops all the time. I'm addicted.
So that's why I think, though, that we need to be able to see what the needs are and the expectations, because that's what they're accustomed to. And, there has to be a little bit of give on both ends.
Absolutely.
So again, not all or nothing, but there's somewhere in the middle. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. But it's something I've always want to talk about, because nobody really wants to go down that road. And you're more of a, you see both sides.
I do.
And a lot of people, it's my side and that's the end of it.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And
the other piece of it, though, is that you have to be able to measure productivity in a different way, right? Because even when people are in the office, if they're sitting on Facebook all day, they're not being productive.
That's right.
So there have to be systems.
But if they're home and you give them tasks and say, oh, when those tasks are done, you're done, that's no good either, because
that's right.
They need to say, hey, I'm done all that stuff.
Right.
What do I do now?
So if you do implement that kind of policy,
what percentage of people do you think are going to make that phone call? There you go.
They're done, they're done.
And that's my problem with work from home.
I got it.
So,
I understand.
So listen, if you haven't met Joanne, you should probably set something up. This is an incredible woman that is doing some really great things and has done a ton of great things in her lifetime. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
They can find me on social media. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. They can email me at connorj@rowan.edu, CONNORJ@rowan.edu, or they can call me 856-304-3833.
There you go. Well, thanks for being on.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being a part of this. And everybody out there, keep on walking, keep on moving. Follow me on Instagram and YouTube and any other device you want to follow me on. Yeah. I'm on them all. You guys too. Walking and Talking with Tim, you follow me. So we will see you next time on Walking and Talking
with Tim.
Giddy up. Peace.